What if the loneliness you fear after 70 is not a loss, but a doorway? What if the friendships you cling to are not proof of connection, but echoes of a life you have already outgrown? Society tells you that aging means shrinking social circles, fading relevance, disappearing into silence. The narrative is always the same: lose your friends, lose your worth, stay connected or be forgotten, keep the phone ringing or admit defeat. But Buddhism whispers something far more radical. You are not losing people, you are shedding noise. And when the noise fades, something extraordinary begins to speak. Not the chatter of obligation, not the performance of being likable, but the quiet voice you spent decades drowning out with busyness, with pleasing, with the exhausting work of maintaining relationships that may have stopped nourishing you years ago. Today we explore a truth few dare to consider, not why friendships fade after 70, but why your soul may no longer need them in the same way. This is not about loneliness. This is not about giving up. This is about something most people never reach. Emotional freedom. The kind that only arrives when you stop measuring your worth by how many people remember your birthday. If you have ever felt guilty for wanting less contact, for craving silence over conversation, for choosing your own company over another coffee date that leaves you drained, this message will find you exactly when you need it. Stay with me. There is a hidden lesson at the end, one that may finally give you permission to stop apologizing for the peace you are beginning to crave. Lesson 1. The greatest freedom after 70 is emotional independence. For most of your life, relationships were mirrors. They reflected who you were. They confirmed your worth. They validated your identity. Without them, you questioned whether you even existed in any meaningful way. Think about it. How many years did you spend checking those mirrors, waiting for the nod of approval, the returned phone call, the invitation that proved you mattered? You built entire structures of self-worth on the foundation of other people's attention. But after 70, something shifts. The mirror is no longer necessary. This is not because you have become cold or disconnected. It is because you have finally grown tired of needing external confirmation for an internal truth. You know who you are now. Not perfectly, not completely, but enough. Enough that the absence of applause no longer feels like erasure. Buddhist wisdom teaches that attachment creates suffering, not because love is wrong, but because dependence distorts clarity. When your peace relies on someone else showing up, calling back, remembering you, you have handed them the keys to your inner world. And most people, even those who love you, are too distracted by their own chaos to hold those keys responsibly. Imagine standing in front of a lake for decades, checking your reflection to know who you are. One day, you realize you no longer need the water to tell you your face. You have memorized it. You have lived in it. The reflection was helpful once. Now it is optional. True maturity is not isolation. It is self-sufficiency of the heart. But here is the part most people do not talk about. This shift can feel terrifying, because if you are no longer defined by your relationships, then who are you? If no one is watching, does your life still matter? These are the questions that rise in the silence, and they are not comfortable. A 2011 study by Stanford psychologist Laura Carstensen on socio-emotional selectivity theory found that as people age, they naturally prioritize emotional meaning over social quantity. Older adults do not lose interest in connection. They lose interest in shallow connection. The brain, aware of limited time, becomes selective. It wants depth, not breadth. Quality, not noise. This is not decline. This is refinement. But society treats it like failure. They see your smaller circle and assume loneliness. They do not see the relief, the liberation, the quiet exhale that comes when you finally stop performing connection and start experiencing presence. Pause here and ask yourself, not to judge, but to notice. If no one praised you tomorrow, would your peace remain? If no one called, would your worth diminish? Who are you without witnesses? These questions are not meant to hurt. They are meant to free. Because when you can sit with them without panic, without scrambling to fill the silence with plans and people, you have touched something sacred. You have found the ground beneath all the noise. And that ground does not shift when someone forgets to text back. There is a Buddhist teaching that says, you, yourself, as much as anybody in the entire universe, deserve your love and affection. But we spend most of our lives reversing that, giving others what we refuse ourselves, seeking from the outside what we will not build within. Emotional independence does not mean you stop caring about people. It means you stop needing them to care about you in order to feel whole. That distinction changes everything. When your inner foundation is strong, relationships become optional, not necessary. You can enjoy them without clinging. You can love without desperation. You can let people come and go without your sense of self collapsing every time someone drifts away. This is the freedom most people chase their entire lives and never find, because they keep looking for it in connection when it only ever lived in solitude. Lesson 2. Solitude is not loneliness. It is undistracted awareness. Many people confuse silence with emptiness. They hear the word solitude and picture isolation, abandonment, the slow disappearance into irrelevance. But silence is not empty, it is spacious. After 70, the constant stimulation of conversation, obligation, and social maintenance can feel heavy. Not because you dislike people, but because your soul seeks depth, not noise. It wants substance, not performance. And most casual friendships, if you are honest, stopped providing substance years ago. You have had the same conversations 100 times, the same updates about grandchildren, about aches, about weather and television. There is comfort in routine, yes, but there is also a deadening, a slow erasure of the questions you never got to ask because small talk filled every gap. Picture a room once filled with chatter, voices layering over voices, laughter, interruptions, the pleasant hum of being surrounded. Then, slowly, the voices leave, one by one, some by choice, some by circumstance, some by death. You expect sadness. You brace for loneliness. Instead, you notice something unexpected. Clarity. For the first time in decades, you can hear yourself think. You can follow a thought all the way to its end without someone cutting in with their own story. You can sit in stillness without feeling the pressure to fill it. And in that stillness, something begins to surface. The parts of you that got buried under years of being polite, agreeable, accommodating. The opinions you never voiced. The dreams you abandoned, the questions you stopped asking because no one around you cared about the answers. Solitude is absence of others. It is the presence of yourself. And for many people, that presence is terrifying because they have spent so long being who others needed them to be that they no longer recognize who they are when no one is asking anything of them. Buddhist monk Thich Nhat Hanh teaches, silence is essential. We need silence just as much as we need air, just as much as plants need light. If our minds are crowded with words and thoughts, there is no space for us. This is what solitude offers. Space, not emptiness. Space for your own thoughts to breathe. Space for grief to move through you without having to manage someone else's discomfort with your sadness. Space to be contradictory, uncertain, evolving, without the need to present a coherent self to an audience. Most people fear this space because they mistake it for loneliness. But loneliness is not about being alone. Loneliness is the ache of disconnection, and you can feel profoundly disconnected in a room full of people if none of them see you. Solitude, on the other hand, is the choice to be with yourself, fully, without distraction, without the buffer of other people's voices drowning out your inner world. A 2018 study published in the journal Self and Identity found that people who spend intentional time alone report higher levels of creativity, self-awareness, and emotional regulation. Solitude was not linked to loneliness unless the person felt forced into it. When chosen, solitude became restorative. This is the shift that happens after 70 for those willing to embrace it. Solitude stops being something that happens to you and becomes something you create. A refuge, a practice, a choice. But society does not celebrate this. Society pathologizes aloneness, especially in older adults. They see someone eating alone and assume tragedy. They see a quiet life and call it sad. But what if that quiet life is the first honest one that person has lived? What if the absence of constant socializing is not loneliness but relief? Ask yourself, and be gentle here. When was the last time you enjoyed your own company? Not tolerated it, not endured it, but truly enjoyed it. When did you last sit with yourself without reaching for the phone, the television, the next distraction? Do you fear silence, or do you fear what silence might reveal? What could grow in you if distraction stopped? What voice has been waiting for the room to empty so it could finally speak? These are not rhetorical questions. These are invitations. To stop running, to stop filling every moment with noise, to see what happens when you let the stillness settle. Loneliness is the absence of others. Solitude is the presence of yourself. And the presence of yourself, when you stop fearing it, becomes the most faithful companion you will ever know. Lesson 3. Fewer relationships mean fewer illusions. Friendships are beautiful, they can be, but they are also layered with expectations, unspoken contracts, silent scorekeeping. You call, they do not call back. You make the effort, they forget. You show up, they cancel. Again. And you tell yourself, it is fine. People are busy. Life gets complicated. Everyone has their own struggles. You make excuses for them because the alternative, admitting the friendship has become one-sided, feels too painful, too final. After 70, the cost of maintaining illusions becomes heavier than the benefit. The energy it takes to pretend a relationship is mutual when it has not been for years, that weight becomes unbearable, not because you have grown bitter, but because you have grown honest. Buddhism teaches impermanence. Everything that arises will pass. Everything, including relationships. The people who were central to your life at 30 may be strangers at 70. Not because of betrayal, not because of cruelty, simply because paths diverge, interests shift. The things that bonded you, raising children, shared workplaces, proximity, those things dissolve. And when they do, sometimes all that is left is habit. You keep calling because you always have. You keep meeting because it feels wrong to stop. But underneath, there is a hollowness. A sense that you are both playing roles in a script neither of you believes in anymore. Clinging to what has naturally changed creates suffering. It is like holding autumn leaves, demanding they remain green. The tighter you grip, the faster they crumble. The more you insist on preservation, the more you destroy what little remains. There is a painful honesty required here, and most people avoid it because letting go feels like failure, like admitting you were not important enough to keep. But that is ego talking. Ego wants to be essential. It wants to be irreplaceable. And when someone drifts away, ego interprets it as rejection. But what if it is not rejection? What if it is simply completion? Pema Chodron, the American Buddhist nun, writes, "The most fundamental aggression to ourselves, the most fundamental harm we can do to ourselves, is to remain ignorant by not having the courage to look at ourselves honestly and gently. This is what fewer relationships after 70 demand of you, the courage to look honestly at what remains, to stop pretending depth exists where only history lingers, to release people not with anger, but with acceptance. Because here is the truth that no one wants to say out loud. Some friendships were only meant for a season, and when that season ends, clinging does not revive them. It only turns something that was once nourishing into something that drains you both. You have probably felt this. The conversation that used to flow now requires effort. The laughter that used to come easily now feels forced. You leave the interaction not energized but exhausted, not because the person is bad, but because the connection has shifted, and neither of you knows how to name it without guilt. So you keep going through the motions. Keep accepting invitations out of obligation. Keep giving energy you do not have to relationships that no longer feed you. And slowly, quietly, you begin to resent the very people you once loved. This is what clinging does. It poisons what was good by refusing to let it end with grace. Reflect here and be honest with yourself. Are you holding on to history or connection? Do you value the memory of someone more than who they are now? Which relationship feels heavy, not nourishing? These questions are not meant to make you cut people off coldly. They are meant to help you see where you are spending energy out of guilt instead of genuine desire, where you are performing connection instead of experiencing it. And when you stop performing, something miraculous happens. The relationships that remain, the ones that survive your honesty, become deeper, because they are no longer held together by obligation. They are held together by choice, by mutual presence, by the rare and precious thing that most friendships never achieve: authenticity. Fewer relationships do not mean less love, they mean less pretending. And when you stop pretending, you finally have the space to love the people who are actually present, not the ghosts of who they used to be. Release does not destroy love, it frees it from expectation. And in that freedom, real connection, the kind that does not require maintenance, the kind that simply is, finally becomes possible. Lesson 4. Your time becomes sacred, not social currency. In youth, time feels infinite. You spend it generously, even carelessly. Coffee dates that go nowhere. Conversations that circle without landing. Hours given to people who will not remember your name in 5 years. You do this because time feels renewable. Because there is always tomorrow. Always next week, always later. But after 70, time becomes luminous, not scarce, precious. You begin to feel it differently. The weight of each hour, the unrepeatable nature of each day. You no longer have the luxury of pretending you will live forever. And that awareness, uncomfortable as it is, brings a kind of clarity that younger people cannot access. Every conversation is now measured against one question: does this deepen my peace? Not, is this person nice? Not, will they be offended if I say no? But does this interaction add something real to my life, or does it simply fill time? This is not cruelty. This is discernment. And discernment is one of the great gifts of aging, if you allow it. You begin to understand something few admit openly. Many friendships survive out of habit, not alignment. You meet because you always have. You call because it feels wrong not to. But underneath, there is no real resonance, no exchange of substance. Just two people going through motions, neither of them truly wants to continue. And the cost of those motions, the energy, the time, the depletion, becomes too high. Picture your remaining years as a handful of golden coins, each one precious, irreplaceable. Would you spend them on obligation, on people who do not see you, on interactions that leave you feeling smaller, not larger? Of course not. Yet that is exactly what many people do. They give their golden coins away to whoever asks, because saying no feels selfish. But here is the shift Buddhism offers. Saying no to what depletes you is not selfish. It is sacred. It is the recognition that your life, your energy, your presence, these are not infinite resources to be distributed equally. They are gifts, and gifts should go where they are valued. Stoic philosopher Seneca wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it. Life is long enough, and a sufficiently generous amount has been given to us for the highest achievements if it were all well invested." After 70, you begin to see where the investment has been wasted. The relationships you maintained out of fear, the obligations you carried because no one else would, the social events you attended because absence felt like failure. None of it was well invested, and the return, validation, belonging, the things you thought you were purchasing with your time, they never truly arrived. What did arrive was exhaustion, a quiet resentment, a sense that your life belonged to everyone except you. This is the reckoning that solitude brings. The recognition that time, your time, is not a resource to be managed by other people's expectations. It is yours, and you are allowed to guard it. Not hoarding it out of fear, but honoring it with intention. Reflect gently. Where does your energy feel drained? Which interactions leave you smaller? What would you choose if time were visibly running out? Because here is the truth. Time is visibly running out. You know this in a way younger people do not. You feel it in your body, in the friends who are no longer here, in the moments that will not come again. And that knowing, painful as it is also permission. Permission to stop pretending, permission to choose yourself, permission to say, I would rather spend this afternoon in silence than at a luncheon that will leave me hollow. When you respect your time, you respect your life. And when you respect your life, you stop giving it away to people who do not cherish it. This is not about becoming cold. It is about becoming clear. Clear about what matters. Clear about who truly sees you. Clear about where your presence is wanted, not just tolerated. And in that clarity, something beautiful happens. The relationships that remain are not the ones you forced. They are the ones that chose you back. And those, the ones built on mutual respect, mutual presence, mutual honoring of each other's time, those are worth every golden coin you have left. Lesson 5. Letting go is not withdrawal, it is refinement. This is where many misunderstand the message. They hear you do not need friends and interpret it as isolation, as bitterness. as the resignation of someone who has given up on connection. But that misses the entire point. You do not stop needing people, you stop needing many. Quantity dissolves into quality. Noise condenses into resonance. The wide net of casual acquaintances, the people you see out of habit, the friendships that survive on autopilot, those fall away. Not because you have grown cold, but because you have grown clear. After 70, friendship transforms. It becomes less about activity and more about presence, less about filling calendars and more about sitting together in comfortable silence, less about performing closeness and more about simply being seen. One sincere companion may replace 10 casual ones. Someone who knows your history but does not trap you in it. Someone who can sit with your contradictions without needing you to resolve them. Someone whose presence does not require you to be anyone other than who you are in this exact moment. Or sometimes you become your own most stable companion, and that is not sad, that is mastery. Buddhism speaks of right relationship, not frequent, not loud, but aligned. Relationships that reflect your values, that honor your truth, that allow space for growth, instead of demanding you stay fixed in the role they need you to play. Most friendships, if you are honest, do not meet this standard. They are built on convenience, on proximity, on the things you used to have in common before your lives diverged. And holding on to them after the foundation has crumbled does not preserve connection. It creates tension. You feel it every time you interact, the subtle strain, the performance, the awareness that you are both trying to recreate something that no longer exists. And afterward, instead of feeling nourished, you feel tired. This is the signal, the one most people ignore. They interpret that exhaustion as their own failing. They think, I should be more grateful. I should try harder. I should be a better friend. But what if the exhaustion is not failure? What if it is information? Your body, your energy, your nervous system, they know before your mind does when a relationship has stopped serving you. The trick is learning to trust that knowing instead of overriding it with guilt. A 2020 study from Michigan State University found that older adults with smaller, high-quality social networks reported better mental health outcomes than those with larger, lower-quality networks. The research confirmed what Buddhism has taught for millennia. It is not the number of connections that matters, it is the depth. But depth requires honesty. It requires the willingness to let relationships end when they have run their course. To stop resuscitating connections that are already gone, to grieve what was without pretending it still is. And when you do that, when you stop clinging to quantity and start honoring quality, your life becomes quieter, simpler, but not emptier, fuller. Because the space that used to be occupied by obligation is now available for presence, for depth, for the kind of connection that does not announce itself with constant contact but exists in the knowing that if you needed them, they would come, and you would do the same. Ask yourself, who feels peaceful, not performative? Who requires no version of you to appear? What would friendship look like without obligation? These questions reveal the difference between relationships you are holding on to and relationships that are holding you. The first requires effort. The second requires only honesty. Letting go is not withdrawal. It is refinement. It is the recognition that your inner world is sacred and not everyone deserves access to it. That your energy is finite and spending it on people who do not value it is not generosity, it is self-abandonment. When you refine your circle, you are not losing connection. You are finally making space for it. Real connection. The kind that does not need to be maintained because it maintains itself. The kind that does not fade with distance because it was never built on proximity in the first place. A refined circle is not smaller, it is clearer. And in that clarity, you discover something most people spend their whole lives searching for. The peace of being known without having to explain yourself. The freedom of being loved without having to perform. The quiet joy of relationships that ask nothing of you except that you continue being exactly who you are. That is not loneliness. That is liberation. Lesson 6. You are not here to be remembered by many, only to be awake within. There is a hidden fear beneath aging that no one talks about in polite company. It sits in the silence after friends stop calling. It rises when invitations dry up. It whispers in the moments when you realize your name is no longer on anyone's emergency contact list. The fear is this: what if I am forgotten? What if I disappear from the world and no one notices? What if my life, all the years, all the effort, all the love I gave, what if none of it mattered because no one is left to remember? This fear drives so much of the clinging, the desperate maintenance of friendships that have long since faded, the performance of being social when your soul craves silence, the guilt you feel when you want to say no but cannot bear the thought of being erased from someone's mental list of people who matter. But consider this deeper truth, one that might sting before it soothes. Even surrounded by people, many die unheard. You can have a full contact list and still feel invisible. You can attend every gathering and still leave feeling like no one truly saw you. Presence is not measured by attendance. It is measured by awareness. And awareness, the kind that makes a life feel lived rather than endured, that does not come from being seen by many. It comes from seeing yourself clearly. After 70, you may realize something profound, something that shifts the entire foundation of how you have been measuring your worth. Being deeply awake in your own life matters more than being socially visible in others. Imagine a candle burning alone in a quiet room. It does not require applause to illuminate. It does not flicker less brightly because no one is watching. Its light is not diminished by solitude. If anything, in the stillness, the flame burns more steadily, more purely. You are that candle, and you have spent decades believing your light only mattered if someone else confirmed it. But what if your light was never meant for an audience? What if it was meant for you? This is not about giving up on connection. It is about relocating the source of your worth, pulling it back from the outside world where it has been held hostage by other people's attention and placing it where it always belonged, within. Buddhist teacher Ajahn Chah said, "If you let go a little, you will have a little peace. If you let go a lot, you will have a lot of peace. If you let go completely, you will have complete peace." Letting go of the need to be remembered is one of the deepest forms of release, because underneath that need is the belief that your existence only has meaning if it leaves a mark on someone else's memory. But that belief traps you. It makes your peace dependent on something you cannot control, whether people think of you after you are gone. And here is the uncomfortable truth. Most people will not. Not because you were not important, but because life moves forward. People grieve, and then they continue. They remember you fondly for a while, and then the memory fades. Not out of cruelty, out of survival. This is not tragedy, this is impermanence. And impermanence is not something to fear, it is something to accept. Because once you accept it, the desperate scramble to be unforgettable finally stops. You stop performing, stop trying to make yourself essential, stop measuring your worth by how often your phone rings. Reflect here and let the question sit without rushing to answer. Are you afraid of being alone, or are you afraid of being unseen? Whose approval still feels necessary for you to believe your life has value? If remembrance vanished, if no one carried your name forward after you are gone, would your peace collapse or would it remain? These are not easy questions. They touch the raw edge of ego, the part of you that wants to matter, that wants to be special, that wants to leave evidence that you were here. But Buddhism teaches that clinging to specialness is another form of suffering, because specialness is comparative. It requires others to be less so you can be more. And that is a game no one wins. What if, instead of trying to be unforgettable, you focused on being awake, on experiencing this life, this body, this breath, this moment, fully, not for the story it will tell, not for the legacy it will leave, but simply because you are here, now. And that is enough. The need to be remembered is often a defense against the terror of insignificance. But insignificance, in the Buddhist sense, is not an insult, it is a relief. It means you do not have to carry the weight of being important. You can just be. And in that being, without the pressure to prove, to impress, to secure your place in someone else's memory, you discover a peace that does not depend on external validation, a peace that exists whether anyone is watching or not. Being fully present to yourself is greater than being known by the world, because the world will forget. But you, in this moment, awake and aware, you are experiencing the only thing that ever truly belonged to you, your own aliveness. That is not loneliness. That is freedom, and it is the kind of freedom that only comes when you stop measuring your life by how many people will miss you and start measuring it by how deeply you inhabit the time you have left. Lesson 7. True companionship is an inner state. The most valuable friendship after 70 is the one you cultivate with your own mind, not the one with the neighbor who brings you soup, not the one with the old colleague who calls twice a year. Those can be lovely, but they are not reliable. People move, people change, people die. Your mind, however, is with you until the end. And if that mind is a hostile place, no amount of external companionship will save you. If your thoughts are cruel, if your inner dialogue is a relentless critic, if you wake each morning to a voice that reminds you of every failure, every regret, every way you have fallen short, then solitude will feel like punishment, because you are trapped with a companion who despises you. But if your inner voice is gentle, if you have learned to speak to yourself the way you would speak to someone you love, then solitude becomes sanctuary. Because you are never truly alone. You are in the company of someone who knows you completely and still chooses kindness. This is the work, the real work, not finding more friends, not staying busy, not avoiding the silence, but transforming the quality of your inner world so that being alone stops feeling like exile and starts feeling like homecoming. Buddhism teaches that suffering begins in the mind, and so does liberation. The Buddha said, "We are shaped by our thoughts. We become what we think. When the mind is pure, joy follows like a shadow that never leaves." Most people spend their entire lives outsourcing their peace. They believe happiness comes from the right relationship, the right job, the right number of friends. And when those things fail to deliver, they feel betrayed. But the betrayal is not external, it is internal. You betrayed yourself by believing that peace could come from anywhere other than your own awareness. After 70, this becomes unavoidable. The distractions fall away, the noise quiets, and you are left with the one thing you have been running from your whole life, yourself. For some, this is devastating. For others, it is the beginning of real freedom. The difference is not in circumstances. It is in the quality of inner companionship you have built. Visualize this. You are sitting peacefully in a quiet room. No phone, no television, no one else present, just you and your breath. The light is soft, the air is still. You are not waiting for anything, not avoiding anything, just sitting. Does that image feel threatening, or does it feel liberating? Your answer reveals everything. If the thought of being alone with yourself creates anxiety, it means your inner world is not yet a safe place. It means the voice in your head is not a friend. It means you have not yet learned the most essential skill of aging: self-companionship. But if that image feels peaceful, even inviting, it means you have done the work. You have transformed your inner dialogue from critic to companion, and that transformation changes everything. A 2019 study in the journal Aging and Mental Health found that older adults with high self-compassion reported significantly lower levels of loneliness, even when living alone. The research confirmed that the relationship you have with yourself is the strongest predictor of well-being in later life, stronger than social network size, stronger than marital status, stronger than frequency of contact with others. Self-compassion is not self-indulgence. It is not pretending you are perfect or ignoring your flaws. It is treating yourself with the same patience and understanding you would offer a close friend who is struggling. It is saying, yes, I made mistakes. Yes, I have regrets. Yes, there are things I wish I had done differently. And also, I am still here, still trying, still worthy of gentleness. This practice, this simple shift in how you speak to yourself, transforms solitude from something to fear into something to cherish. Ask yourself and answer honestly. Is your mind a safe place to sit? What conversations inside you need compassion instead of criticism? Can you befriend your own awareness, or are you still at war with it? These questions matter because they determine whether the rest of your life feels like imprisonment or freedom. If you cannot be kind to yourself, every moment alone becomes a battle. But if you can, if you learn to offer yourself the tenderness you have spent a lifetime giving others, then solitude stops being something that happens to you and becomes something you choose. You choose it because it is restful, because it is honest, because in the quiet, you do not have to perform. You do not have to manage anyone else's expectations. You can simply be. And being, without judgment, without the need to justify your existence, is the deepest form of companionship there is. When you are at peace within, you are never truly alone, because the one person you can never escape, yourself, has finally become someone you enjoy spending time with. That is not loneliness, that is mastery, and it is available to anyone willing to turn inward with curiosity instead of contempt. Lesson 8. Letting friendships fade can be an act of courage. Sometimes relationships end not because of conflict but because of evolution. You grow, they remain, or they grow, and you are the one standing still. Either way, the paths diverge. This is not betrayal. This is transition. And transition, when honored instead of resisted, becomes one of the most honest forms of love. But society does not frame it that way. Society says if a friendship ends, someone failed. Someone did not try hard enough. Someone was not loyal. Someone gave up. And so you keep trying, keep reaching out, Keep pretending the connection is still alive when both of you know it is not. You do this because letting go feels like admitting defeat, like confessing that you were not important enough to keep. But what if letting go is not defeat? What if it is respect? Respect for the truth. Respect for the natural cycles of relationship. Respect for the person you both used to be and the people you have become. Imagine walking a long road with companions. For miles, you move together, you share stories, you help each other over rough terrain. The companionship is real, the bond is genuine. But at some point, your destination splits from theirs. The road forks. And continuing forward requires a choice. You can force yourself to follow their path, abandoning your own direction to preserve the appearance of togetherness. Or you can honor the split, acknowledge that the journey you shared was meaningful, and also it is complete. Most people choose the first option. They abandon themselves to keep the relationship, and then they spend years quietly resenting the person they sacrificed their path for. But the courageous choice, the one that requires real strength, is to let the relationship end, not with bitterness, not with blame, but with gratitude for what it was and acceptance of what it has become. Pema Chodron writes, "The only reason we do not open our hearts and minds to other people is that they trigger confusion in us, that we do not feel brave enough to work with. To the degree that we look clearly and compassionately at ourselves, we feel confident and fearless about looking into someone else's eyes." Letting friendships fade requires that clarity, that willingness to see what is true, even when the truth is uncomfortable. To admit that this person, who once knew you deeply, no longer does, and you no longer know them. You can grieve that. You should grieve that. But you do not have to fight it. Because fighting the natural end of a relationship does not preserve it. It only prolongs the death. And in that prolonging, both of you lose the chance to honor what the friendship was by letting it complete with dignity. There is a teaching in Buddhism about non-attachment. It does not mean you stop caring. It means you stop clinging. You love without grasping. You honor without holding hostage. And when applied to friendship, non-attachment means you can value the years you shared without demanding more years that neither of you truly wants. This is difficult, because it requires you to sit with the discomfort of not being needed, of realizing that someone you once considered essential to your life has moved on, and they are fine. They did not fall apart without you. They are living a full life that no longer includes regular contact with you. And you have to let that be okay. Not because it does not hurt, but because clinging to people who have already left, emotionally if not physically, only creates suffering. For both of you, reflect here. Which relationships belong to a former version of you? What growth are you delaying to preserve comfort? These questions are not about burning bridges. They are about recognizing which bridges you have already crossed and no longer need to maintain. Because here is the truth. Some relationships were only meant to carry you through a particular season, and when that season ends, the relationship has fulfilled its purpose. Trying to force it into the next season does not honor what it was. It distorts it, turns something that was once nourishing into something obligatory. And obligation is not friendship, it is duty. And duty, without genuine connection, becomes resentment. Letting go, then, is not cruelty. It is honesty. It is the recognition that both of you deserve relationships that are chosen, not maintained out of guilt. When you let friendships fade that have naturally reached their end, you create space. Space for new connections that align with who you are now, or space for solitude which may be exactly what your soul needs. Either way, the space is generative. It allows movement, growth, evolution. Clinging keeps you stuck. Letting go sets you free. Growth requires space, and space requires release. And release, when done with awareness and compassion, is one of the most courageous acts of love there is. Lesson 9. After 70, you no longer seek validation. You seek peace. The final shift is subtle but profound. And if you have been paying attention, you have felt it building through every lesson. In youth, relationships often answer the question, "Am I enough?" You look to friendships to confirm your worth, to prove you are likable, interesting, valuable. The number of invitations you receive becomes a metric of your significance. The frequency of phone calls becomes evidence of your importance. You are constantly measuring yourself against an external standard, and that measuring exhausts you. But after 70, a deeper question arises, one that cannot be answered by applause or attendance or the validation of others. The question is this: am I at peace? Not, am I liked? Not, am I remembered? Not, do people think of me fondly? But am I, in this body, in this moment, in this life, at peace? And the shift from the first question to the second changes everything. Because the first question keeps you dependent, it keeps you performing, it keeps you trapped in the endless loop of seeking approval, receiving it briefly, and then needing more. But the second question brings you home. It returns your attention to the only place peace has ever existed: within. Peace is not a social achievement, it is an inner state, and it cannot be granted by others. It can only be cultivated by you. Buddhist teacher Jack Cornfield writes, "In the end, just three things matter: how well we have lived, how well we have loved, how well we have learned to let go." After 70, you begin to understand that living well does not mean living busily. Loving well does not mean loving many. And letting go is not loss. It is liberation. You no longer need friends to confirm your existence. You need awareness to experience it. This is the culmination, the end point of the entire journey. Not isolation, not bitterness, but the recognition that you are complete, right now, as you are, whether anyone sees you or not. Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine this. All conversations stop, invitations cease. Your social world grows quiet, not because of rejection, not because of failure, but simply because that is what happened. In that silence, do you collapse or do you finally rest? The answer reveals whether you have truly let go, whether you have built a foundation within that does not require external maintenance, whether you have learned the lesson that took 70 years to arrive at. Your worth was never conditional. You were always enough. You just spent most of your life seeking confirmation from people who were also seeking confirmation. And in that mutual seeking, no one ever found what they were looking for. But now, in this moment, you have the chance to stop seeking, to stop measuring yourself by how often people reach out, to stop interpreting silence as rejection, to stop believing that a smaller social circle means a smaller life. Because the truth, the one that sits beneath all the noise and all the striving and all the fear, is this: you do not need friends to confirm your existence. You need awareness to experience it. And when you finally rest in that awareness, when you stop looking outside for what was always within, something miraculous happens. You stop feeling lonely, not because you are suddenly surrounded by people, but because you are finally, fully present with yourself. And that presence, that deep abiding with your own aliveness, is the companionship you have been seeking your entire life. It was never out there. It was always here, waiting for the noise to quiet, waiting for the grasping to stop, waiting for you to finally come home. You do not need friends after 70, not because connection loses value, not because love stops mattering, but because your relationship with yourself becomes primary. When inner stability strengthens, outer dependence softens. When awareness deepens, noise becomes optional. And when you no longer fear solitude, you discover something extraordinary. Peace was never social, it was always internal. The friendships that remain in your life, if any do, will be different now. Quieter, truer, built not on obligation but on genuine resonance. And if none remain, that too is okay, because you have learned the most essential lesson of aging. The only companionship you truly need is the one you offer yourself. This is not a message of loneliness, it is a message of liberation. You are free, free from the exhausting work of being likable, free from the fear of being forgotten, free from the belief that your worth is measured by how many people show up. You are enough. You have always been enough. And the silence that once terrified you has become the place where you finally hear your own voice. Return to yourself. That is the friendship that never fades. If this message found you when you needed it, share it with someone who might be struggling with the same questions. Leave a comment about your own journey with solitude and friendship, and subscribe for more wisdom on living with peace and presence in the years that matter most. Until next time, may you walk gently with yourself. May you honor the quiet. And may you remember, you are not alone. You are finally, beautifully, deeply at home.